Hi, and welcome to Fly Health with Nurse Noel. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hey, this is Fly Health, and I am your host, Nurse Noel. Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. I am so happy. I am Nurse Noel. So I decided I was going to take this leap of faith and just start my own podcast. And I'm so excited. I have my niece and my nephew, Madison and Chase, as the producers and the stagehands and the set designers and the script supervisors. Yes, I am putting them to work. I am putting them to work. But yeah, so I'm so excited. I have so much to talk about. So let's go. Nurse Noel, Fly Health. Let's go. I'm so glad that you joined me on Hot Topics. Hot Topics, Hot Topics. So I have a confession. Last week I got into a little war with someone on Instagram, and I wanted to just backtrack and just apologize. So it was a read. It was definitely a read. If you don't know me, I'm a little something. But they were talking about April Jones. So April Jones from Love and Hip Hop, everyone knows her from having a baby with I think Omarion, and then she was dating Tay Diggs. Well, she made a comment on Instagram stating that she was happy that she had her degree to fall back on so that she can, make money as the entertainment industry is on a decline. And everyone was like, "Yay, I'm happy for her. This is so great. I'm so happy that she can use her education to make money." Okay, I'm happy for that too. However, we have some real life superheroes who wear capes every day. And just because a celebrity or a public figure is doing it, people want to put them on a pedestal. I went on Instagram and I said, she is not a radiologist, she is a radiographer. Why did I say that? They came for me. They came for me. So, if you don't know, a radiologist is a medical doctor. So, you have to go through undergrad, which is 4 years. Then you have to go through residency, which is another 4 years. Then you have to go through fellowship, which is 2 years. And that's a lot of education. And she is not a radiologist, she's a radiographer. And I did not want to take anything away from her. So I apologize. I'm so sorry because I did come for them. I did come for them because of obvious reasons. I just want to give props and shout out all of the fly health professionals out there. I want to give them their flowers. No, you are not on reality TV. You're not on pedestals on television, on radio, but guess what? You guys are fly and you guys are doing the damn thing. Shout out to Dr. Shaban. Shout out to Dr. Miller. Shout out to Dr. Klukowitz. Shout out to my fly nurses. Shout out to Stacy Stewart Walker. Shout out to Yolanda English. Shout out to Shelly English. Shout out to Makia Cobbs. I want to give my healthcare professionals who are fly and who are doing the damn thing their flowers. And that's all I have to say about that. This is Nurse Noel, Fly Health. So I wanted to make a disclaimer. Last show, I mentioned that I was opening up for comedians, and I got a flood of emails, texts, and everything, DMs. No, I was not doing comedy. I was opening up for them doing poetry. I wanted to make this disclaimer. Can you imagine Nurse Noel doing comedy? No, not a thing. I was doing poetry. I was horrible at it. I did not want to put that out there, but I was horrible. And it took my friend, Mike Epps, the comedian Mike Epps, to tell me, Anthea, you either got to go to classes or you have to stop. And I decided to stop, but I also decided to take classes. All right, that's my disclaimer. That's my disclaimer. Take a walk with me. This is the segment that I love because I'm able to share with you and be transparent about my health journey. So as I told you last week, I made the decision to get a breast reduction. So This week, I went to my mammogram appointment and I was so excited. Can you imagine being excited to do a mammogram? Who gets excited to do a mammogram? Who gets, raise your hand, raise your hands, who gets excited to do a mammogram? No one. No one is excited to do a mammogram. So I decided to do it, and they actually put my breast in the machine and squeezed it, and I had to hold, they held it and took images. Now, if you are over 40, then you've had a mammogram. Hopefully you've had a mammogram. And if you have a history, a family history of breast cancer, hopefully you have had a mammogram. But when I had to get this mammogram, they wanted one 6 months before my, within 6 months of my surgery. I told you I'm getting these tittle biddles off. I'm getting these tittle biddles off. I wear a full transparency. I'm a 34J. Yes, I am a 34J. And when the plastic surgeon told me, Anthea, I'm gonna put you at a C, I said, what? I had anxiety. I had separation anxiety automatic. But you know what? This back, these shoulders, can't fit the clothes, looking like a porn star. I'm not with that. I do not subscribe to that. So I'm happy. I'll be happy with a C. But I don't know. Maybe she should just a D. Make it a little D. Make it a small D. Make it a small D. But I had the mammogram, and I will let you know every step of the way as I go on this journey to little breast. Little breast. Okay, so that's my walk with me, okay? This is Nurse Noel. You're listening to Fly Health. A day in the life of Nurse Noel, a day in the life of any nurse. So we pretty much deal with the care. The doctors deal with the cure, nurses deal with the care. And I say this all the time. Dr. Oz told me that, and I didn't get it, but now I get it. I really do get it. It's a day in a life. So let me just tell you a story about this young girl. She had to be about 21 years old, and 21, 22 years old. She came in jaundice. Now, for those who don't know, jaundice means that she was yellow. She was a Caucasian girl, and she yellow eyes. Everything was just yellow. So we automatically knew liver disease. She said that she went on a drinking binge. She was drinking vodka for about 3 or 4 days. And this was because her boyfriend of 2 years broke up with her. And when I looked at this girl, this is a girl who doesn't drink at all. She doesn't drink. She's not a drinker, no drugs. And you can kind of tell with the family history, speaking to the family, speaking to the friends, that she's not about that life. But when I tell you that everybody started crying because this girl went into full liver failure and she needed a liver transplant. Now, they had prayer warriors, which it was so touching to see people holding hands and praying, and it was touching. I want to tell you, she did get a liver. She was at the top of the list because she wasn't a drinker. She didn't have cirrhosis. And you can tell when you do biopsies of livers, whether it is disease because of long-term alcoholism or drugs, or whether it's an acute case. And at this time, it was an acute case. And I just wanted to tell you that she got a liver. She was my patient on liver transplant when I was working at UMDNJ in the liver transplant department. And it was just amazing. God has put so many gifts in man that we can also give the gift of life. Not like God, but we can also help. And she is doing well, and her family is doing well, and I'm so happy. The only thing is when you get a transplant, you have to use and you have to take anti-rejection medication. But you know what? I'll take the anti-rejection medication any day if my life is saved. This is Nurse Noel, and you're watching Fly Health. Hey, this is Nurse Noel, and you are tuned into Fly Health. So this is a really great segment. Ask Nurse Noel. I have questions, and my little best friends, Madison and Chase, are going to give the questions that you sent in. If you have any questions at all, please send them to flyhealthpodcast@gmail.com.
Hi, Nurse Noel. How much water should I drink daily? I've heard 8 glasses a day, but I'm not sure. Also, I hate water. What can I do to increase my intake?
Good question. Thank you, Chase. Thank you so much. I hate water too. Can I just can I just make oh my goodness. Can I have a confession time? I hate water also. I do not like water, but water loves me and water loves you too. You know, the body is made up of a lot of water. And 60% water actually. And because water is so necessary for building cells, we need to increase our intake of water. So let's just do some math. You take your body weight in pounds, you divide it by 2. That number is the amount of water that your body requires every day. Now, let me give you an example. Say you are 200 pounds. You cut that in half. It is 100 ounces of water a day. That's how much your body requires for meiosis and mitosis of cells. That is the replication of cells. Okay, so I weigh a lot. I'm not going to tell you how much I weigh on this thing, but I weigh a lot and I know I am not getting my daily requirement of water. However, let me just explain this to you. You can eat your water. Water is found in fruit and vegetables. I eat watermelon. I love watermelon, and I decided that I'm going to eat 2 watermelons a week. Now, that's not replacing water, but it is adding to the water that I'm not drinking. So, yeah. And also, zhuzh up the water. Zhuzh up your water. Put lemon, put lime, put cucumber, put mint, put anything that you like. Just don't put any sugar. Just don't put any sugar. Next question, Madison.
Nurse Noel, I have the BBL smell. What is this and how can I get rid of it?
Okay, so BBL, Brazilian butt lifts, are becoming just very common. And whether you do it in the United States or outside of the United States, there is something called the BBL smell. So when they do liposuction, they take it from one area and they place it in another area, which is your buttocks. And when they put the fat into the buttocks, they round it so you can have a small waist, big behind. Small waist, big behind. And when they do liposuction, what they do is the surgeon, they put little holes and they fill the abdomen or wherever they're doing the liposuction, they fill that area up with water so that it can loosen the fat, so they suck it out. So there's also residual water that's in your area and that leaks out. So imagine you're in a compression garment and you are leaking out this fluid and it is trapped up in there with sweat. That is the BBL smell, especially when a lot of people do not, and I'm going to say people because men and women do get lipo, okay? Let's just keep that let's just say that. When the fajas are not being changed as they should, that's where the BBL smell comes from. So, use gauze to soak up that fluid so that it doesn't get on the faja. And also, wash your fajas often. Buy more than one. Now, they cost a lot. They cost about 100, anywhere from 100 to $200. Invest in some fajas because guess what? You invested in the BBL. So invest in multiple fajas. That's where the BBL smells come from. This is Nurse Noel, and you are tuned into Fly Health. Welcome to the main event. This this is gonna be something. I prayed, God, please help me get through this, but I'm gonna talk about it because my niece and nephew are here, so I'm gonna be and my cousin Leanna. I have a studio audience. Ow, I have a studio audience. I have a studio audience. But back to the main event. All right, so I'm gonna take you back to Labor Day 2019. All right, so my mom was a registered nurse, and my mother was so independent. My dad died in 1987, so my mother raised my brother and I, and it was very. My mother was the best mother. I'm just gonna tell you that she was the best mother ever, the best mother ever. And when her health started failing, she went to live with my brother initially, and then she came to live with me. Because I'm the nurse, I can take care of her, and I moved somewhere that was a little more wheelchair accessible because my mother became deconditioned and she was wheelchair bound. So imagine home health aides, 8 to 10 hours a day, multiple and frequent doctor visits. And, my mother still had a great spirit. She had a really great spirit. And she was so happy and she's so vibrant, still cracking jokes in that wheelchair. Labor Day 2019, we just found out that someone that we went to church with died that morning. If you know anything about Caribbean people, Labor Day in New York is a vibe. It is a whole thing. Eastern Parkway is lit, steel pan, food, costumes, carnival. It is a vibe. And we watch it on the local channel, Channel 5, because we're not going out there. My mother said, I'm not going out there anymore. I'm going to watch it. So this Labor Day, I usually go to the Hamptons and I come back on Sunday night. This year I was going to go and stay a few days, but something told me, nah, stay home, whatever. It rained that Labor Day. It was on and off. And I went to have tea with a friend of mine, Deja Vu. And I went home. But before I went home, I stopped at Cold Stone because I know Mommy likes chocolate and pistachio ice cream. My mother was a diabetic. She had hypertension. She had sarcoidosis, which I'm going to get into on another show. And she had a lot of comorbidities. So, a lot of illnesses that were controlled and uncontrolled at the same damn time. So, I went to get the ice cream, pistachio and chocolate, because that's what she likes, that's what she loves. And I think I got a pint. I got a pint. And I brought it home and we were watching television and Dancing with the Stars came on and she's dancing. And then my brother came over with my niece and nephew. And I remember bathing her in the bed. She had a hospital bed. And I remember Madison trying to feed her. And I remember Chase talking about her dentures, and it was just, family time. And my brother said, okay, bye, I'm going to talk to you later. I said, all right, bye. And I went into the living room and I was on the phone. So I went and I'm talking on the phone and my mother says, I'm hungry. And I said, okay, I have some roti in the fridge. Come on, big up, Trini. Trini in the house, Trini to the bone. My mother's Trinidadian, my father's Trinidadian, and we had some roti in the fridge. And I heated up the roti. I put it on 2 minutes, and I heard her yell from the room, do not put it too long. I want to eat it right now. I don't want it too hot. Greedy. And I put it to 1 minute, and I put it in a plate and I took it back to her room. And when I got to the room, she was unresponsive. And I took her blood sugar because she's diabetic and I thought maybe she was diaphoretic. And I took her blood sugar and it was 210. But before that, I took out ice cream for my mother and I put a bowl there and I put the pint. And the bowl was empty and the pint was empty also. And I said, Mommy, why did you eat all the ice cream? And she says, well, what you put it in front of me for? What did you put it in front of me for? And I'm like, this lady is greedy and she still want roti. So I came back and it was unresponsive. She was unresponsive. And I took her blood sugar and it was 2 something. And I immediately went into nurse mode and I felt for a pulse. I felt for a carotid pulse. I didn't feel one. I felt for a femoral pulse. And I did not feel one and I started compressions. I started compressions. And I started screaming and I started yelling and I started screaming and I started yelling while I'm doing compressions. And my neighbors, the Bloombergs, Jerry and Marcia, came bursting through the door because when you have a sick person in a home, it's hard to keep the door closed because you need help and people need to come in the house very readily and available. So they came in and I said, call 911, tell them I need ACLS response. I'm doing compressions. At this time, I lifted her lifeless body, put it on the ground, and I'm doing compressions because it's hard to do compressions in a bed. And I'm doing compressions and I'm screaming. And Jerry says, I hear them on the phone. I hear Jerry and Marsha on the phone telling the EMS, no, we need ACLS response because we're doing CPR. And I said, call my brother. And I gave him a number and I called, they called my brother Sherwin and I screamed, Sherwin, get here now. And I've called my brother so many times. I've called my brother so many times about mommy. But this time, I don't know if he heard it in my voice. I don't know if God told him something. But when I tell you, he gathered up his family and my brother lives, I don't not too far from me, but far enough that it takes about 15, 20 minutes. My brother was here in like 7 minutes. I don't know how he got here, but my brother got here so fast with his wife Ashley and his two children, and I'm doing CPR. Paramedics are there. We got a pulse. We got a pulse back. They intubated her in the field. They intubated her here. I said, we're going to Beth Israel Hospital. Beth Israel is known for their cardiac. They're the cardiac center. Get to know the hospitals in your area and what they're good for. Everyone wants to bash hospitals. That's the first thing. Oh, this hospital, they didn't treat me. Know the hospitals in your area. Let me tell you about the hospitals in my area. You have UMDNJ, good for trauma. If I get hit by a car, if anything, if I get stabbed, if I get shot, send me to UMDNJ. Beth Israel, cardiac center. If anything happens to me that is cardiac, send me there. St. Barnabas, the burn center. If any burn, chemical, fire, any type of burn, they're on it. Liver transplant, UMDNJ. Kidney transplant, St. Barnabas. Get to know the hospitals in your area. It is so important. It is so important, okay? I'm going to tell you again. Get to know the hospitals in your area and stop bashing the hospitals and try to find out what they're good for and what they specialize in so that you won't have to bash them. So I said go to Beth Israel, and we went to Sherwin rode. My brother rode in the ambulance, and I rode with my sister-in-law Ashley, and I was screaming. I don't remember. I'm trying to get out the car while she's driving. It was just so, it was just a traumatic experience. And we got to the hospital, and she lost her pulses again. They're doing CPR, and when you do CPR, you feel ribs cracking. You feel ribs cracking, and if you don't feel ribs cracking, you are not doing it properly. When I felt my mother's ribs crack, it hit me different. Now I've done this thousands of times in the hospital, but when you have to do CPR on your mother, it hits different. Or a loved one, it hits different. That's why I'm urging you, learn CPR. And CPR, back in the day, they would taught you had to count, and it was very complicated. Two-step CPR is call 911 or call for help and start compressions. CPR saves lives. We learned with Damar Hamlin. We learned with LeBron James' son. CPR saves lives. So we got to the hospital, and she lost her pulses again. They did CPR. She kept losing her pulses. we had to make that decision, that family decision of making her a DNR. And if she does lose her pulses again, that we're just going to let her go. That is one of the hardest decisions that families need to make. Know your family status before anything. You know, that's a hard pill to swallow, and that's a hard discussion to have, but it's so necessary because as an ICU nurse, I see it all the time. Patients have DNR and the family are like, we want compressions, we want everything, we want a machine. Get to know what your families and what your loved ones' wishes are. And my mother wanted to live comfortably. She wanted to live comfortably. And I already knew as a nurse, as a healthcare professional, that she wasn't coming back. And if she did come back, she would be on a machine and she would be brain dead. And that was the hardest decision that my brother and I had to make. And I remember I said, just let her go. And initially, my brother did not want to. You know, this is adrenaline. This is feelings. And initially he didn't. And that's the fight that you don't want to have with your siblings. And the doctor spoke to him, and he realized that that was the best thing to happen. CPR does not always save lives, but it prolonged my mother's life in order for my brother, his wife, and her grandchildren to have closure and to say their goodbyes. It was the difference of me calling my brother and saying, come, mommy is in an emergency situation, or come, mommy is dead. This is Nurse Noel, and this is Fly Health. I'll be right back. I have a call to action. As you heard in the main event, my mom and the CPR and everything, all of the above. Learn CPR. Learn two-step CPR. And guess what? Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar has been adopted as the official CPR song with 101 beats per minute. It has been adopted by the American Heart Association. So get your CPR on. That is the call to action, and that is what I am challenging you with. Go to American Heart Association's website, and you can learn two-step CPR. This is Nurse Noel, and you're watching Fly Health. I am so glad that you were able to come with me on this journey of Fly Health. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so that you can see when I am posting. This is Nurse Noel. This is Fly Health. I am so excited. Thank you so much for joining me today. Next week, we got a good one. So stay tuned. This is Nurse Noel, and you are tuned into Fly Health. Peace. Bye.